This is one of the best ways, in my opinion, to show form and transition. And it's something that a lot of people miss. But so I'm showing this transition from the light part of the bill rolling down into the dark part. And instead of mixing the lightest most part and the darkest most part and then blending those together, that's a big mistake in most cases, because usually the dark won't blend with the light correctly. And that's where a lot of artists get in trouble. There's usually a transitionary zone where the color gets a little darker than the light and a little more pure, but it's, you know, lighter than the darkest area and also a little more pure. And you can see that transition right here on my palette. I got the light, the middle tone, and then the dark. So just remember that this is usually a better way to show, to actually paint transitions. And then afterwards, if you want to do a smooth blendy thing with your fan brush or something like that, you can. But at least have those transition colors in there. And I'll kind of quickly demonstrate what I'm talking about here on my palette. So I'm going to mix kind of a replica of my light again. All right, and then I'm going to mix the dark color. Okay, so if I needed to merge those two together, this is the mistake a lot of novice artists will make. Let's take that and let's take some of that and merge it together. Okay. And look what happens. I end up with this dull gray. Now, if you look at the bill, that's not what happens there. You don't end up with that dull gray. The problem is I didn't have that transition tone in between. So let's mix the transition tone now, which is just basically, and this happens in clouds, this happens in a lot of things, is these midtones. That act as a bridge between the light and the dark in a more intense area. Then I mix some of this into there. And then I mix some of this into there. And I have to add even a little more red. But see how that's a more natural transition for red. If we're transitioning red from a cool overcast light, from a light pinker red into a very dark red there, having that strong, more intense transition in between is ultra important. If you just jump from here to there, as a lot of artists do, you're going to end up with something you don't want. You're going to end up with this cool color which doesn't fit. All right? So that's what I'm doing in that bill there. And that's something you always want to think about whenever you're transitioning a color from light to dark, especially when it comes to a soft overcast light. All right? But it could also apply in things like sunlight too and everything. You know, if you're doing aspens on a sunny day, you're doing, and we actually have a video from last June or May, I think. We did aspens. We have this exact scenario, and you have the light, sunlit side of the aspen, and then the shadow side of the aspen. You have this core area, this transition area, usually of kind of a more pinkish tone between the more yellow light side and then the bluer dark side. If you mix the yellow white side straight in with the shadow side, you're going to end up with green in between there, when it's actually kind of a pink tone. And so you have to mix it like that there.